everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva, and welcome to my brand new live on a Monday night called Memory Keeping Monday. So if you haven't joined me before, I'm Melva Peters, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada, and you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. I've decided to add back in to my kind of stamping scrapbooking. We've got some amazing scrapbooking products since April, and some brand new ones have just come out in September, and we'll be getting more over the next while. But Stampin' Up! Has done an amazing job of bringing scrapbooking in to the lineup, and so I decided that once a week I'm going to jump on and share either a single layout or a double layout, depending on what I can find and what I'm inspired to do. So hopefully people will start to join me, and if you have never scrapbooked before, these are amazing, and you don't have to kind of think about it as in scrapbooking a whole year or a whole trip. Just pick a few, hey Catherine, a few pictures, and whether it's a single layout, double layout, or maybe a couple of double layouts to scrapbook that kind of story. Think about it like that, and then you won't be so overwhelmed. I know when I used to scrapbook, I was so overwhelmed by thinking, gee, I have this whole year or this whole long trip that we were on to scrapbook. And so now I'm just trying to think about, pick a few pictures from a trip and scrapbook that. So I decided to use the Autumn to Remember. There is a stamp set, designer series paper, and coordinating two-tones cardstock, and I'll show you that in just a minute, as well as stickers. Now I'm not going to use the stickers tonight because I'm kind of bringing in some other products and the stamp set, but I'm using the Autumn to Remember, and I'm going to scrapbook one double layout using some pictures from a trip that my sisters and my niece went on to Banff last fall. It was for my sister's birthday. We got a great deal at the Banff Springs Hotel and felt very spoiled to be able to stay at this amazing hotel. And so there's some lovely pictures with the fall colors, and I just kind of thought it was kind of a great choice just to remember that trip. All right, I'm going to switch over and show you some of the product, and then we'll get started. Okay, so like I said, there are 4 scrapbook workshop kits out at the moment, and then there is a stamp set that coordinates with it. So this is the Autumn to Remember. So these images are at 80%. So they actually are nice big sentiments and images that you can use on scrapbook pages, which is nice to have. And then there are, so the designer series paper, this is the Autumn to Remember. So in the workshop kit you get the designer series paper and the cardstock. You can also buy it separate, and when you buy the designer series paper separate, you get 12 pieces, 6 designs. Am I getting this right? You're getting 3 of each of these. So these are the designs. This one's kind of got looks like trees, and then on the back side, I really love this check. Nice green. I think it's Old Olive, Cajun Craze, and then these 2 are my favorites. Look at these lovely leaves, kind of whimsical leaves. Hey Lorraine, welcome. Yes, happy Thanksgiving. I don't know that there's a right way and a wrong way on these animals, these cute little critters that are on this one. So like I said, you get 3 sheets of each of these pieces. And then the other part, I'm gonna put those over, is this 2-tone cardstock. So the designer series paper and cardstock are a little lighter than what are normal, lighter weight. And that's intentional because when you're doing scrapbooking, you don't want really thick pages. And so this is the cardstock, the 2-tone cardstock pack that you get. I believe you get 2 sheets. I was trying to add up how many you got. I think it's 2 sheets of each. Petal Pink, Pecan Pie, Old Olive, Mossy Meadow, and Early Espresso. Now let me show you the 2-tone. So this is maybe harder to see. If I actually had 2 pieces of it, you might be able to see. So there you go. That's the Early Espresso, so the light side and the dark side. The other thing about this is it's white core, so it's printed as opposed to our cardstock, the regular Stampin' Up! Cardstock, which is printed right through, where you won't, if you cut it, you won't see a white core. This two-tone cardstock has a white core, so if you cut it or emboss it, you may see that, and there's some really cool techniques you can do with that white core. Okay, so that's part. Now I'm not using the stickers. If you order the designer series paper separate to the workshop kit, well, with the workshop kit as well, but you can order the designer series paper and it comes with stickers. Okay, so let me bring in, I've already got some things cut out because I thought that you don't want to see me do all of this. So I'm using some of these out of the way so that I can do it. So I'm casing one of the layouts, double layouts, that was part of the Halloween workshop kit. And so I'm using a full piece of this lovely leaf cardstock and then half a sheet of it. And so I'm kind of just cut out some. I'm using the Changing Leaves, which is one of the online exclusives. I've already gone ahead and cut some leaves out in a tag. All right, so here's some pictures and some of the pieces. So the Halloween had this really cool layout. So we'll work on this page first. So this piece is, let me get these. So a 12 by 12, of course, for this main piece. And then this piece is 6 inches by 7.5. Now I'm just using liquid glue. You don't want to use a ton of it, but I'm just using liquid glue. You could use the Stamp and Seal, but I just tend to use liquid glue. So this is, whoopsie, let's put these going the right way. So this is just kind of going in the middle. And then I've got another piece of, this is the one with the trees, and on the other side is that check, and it's going to go like that. Now this piece, I lost my ruler. Where did my ruler go? There it is. This piece is 5 inches by 7 inches, and it's going to go, so I'm just gluing these down flat. I might pop up the pictures. So this is just going to go, make sure the trees are going in the right direction. Like that. And then I have this picture. Now I cut a mat. So when I scrapbook, this is a 4 by 6 picture. This is my sisters and my niece and I out in front of Lake Louise. And so this is 4 by 6, but sometimes I will just cut it down to a size that I want. This one I left as it was. But some of the ones on my other page, I just kind of cut and took the focal part of it. And then I cut the mat. So the mat is 1/4 of an inch bigger than the size of the picture. So my sisters and I and my niece are going, I'm going back to Calgary to visit actually the end of next week. And so we are going just to Canmore, not to Banff this time, but to Canmore for one night just to kind of get away. It's always fun. We play cards and we shop and we laugh. All right, so that's the main one. And then I took this picture, I've already matted it. It was one of the trees. We went to Bow Falls to take a look around, and it was definitely fall. And so I matted this. I think this picture, I'll just put that right like that. So this picture I just cut to 3.5 by 3.25 by 3.5. And then matted it with an extra piece. Now I'll finish that in a minute once I get this other one put together. So the other layout that I really, the other part of the layout that I really liked in the Halloween one was the same cardstock as on the first one, and then this is cut 6 by 12. So the 2 pages coordinate. And I'm using the Cajun Craze two-tone cardstock as the main layer for this one. So if you find layouts that you really like, case them, changing them up a little bit. Of course, I'm not using the same paper, so I'm adding in the other pieces. Okay, so that's just going on the bottom. And then I cut a piece of this one. It's got the same Cajun craze on one side. And so I cut this 1 inch by 12 inches. And we're just going to take and glue this, butt it up against, try not to get glue on my fingers. There we go. Like that. Okay, so then I've got 3 pictures. My niece and I we found a craft brewery in Canmore, because we stopped in Canmore on our way and had to do a tasting. So that's my niece and I. So these pictures, I think, how big are these pictures? Ooh, that's not very straight on there. Let's try and get that straight before I try and measure it. There we go. So these pictures are 3 1/4 by 3 1/2, and so then again that the matte layer is 1/4 of an inch bigger. My sister Gail and I out, there's a viewpoint that you can go and take these pictures of the Banff Springs Hotel in the background. And even so, if you have a, you see a scrapbook layout and you really like the what you think you can do with it, you could even make these without putting the pictures on. Just do the matting and then find pictures to go on later. And then my sister and my niece. And this was out, I think, in front of the Banff Springs, looking out of this gorgeous view. We even did some crafting. I took some kits with us and we did some crafting. Okay, so these are going to go across just the top like that. So we'll fit those on. And then I cut a piece of this Cajun craze. This is 3 by 3 1/4. So it's going to go kind of right there. This is going to be, you always want to make sure you leave room for doing some journaling. So this is going to be for journaling. And then before I do that, I'm going to stamp. So let me grab this. I'm going to stamp this one that says September to Remember, kind of as my title. And I'm going to stamp it in Cajun Craze. I'm just going to take and stamp off just because it's not feeling like it's inked up as well as I want it to be. So sometimes photopolymer stamps, you just need to kind of condition a little bit. That's looking better. There we go. So I think I cut this very vanilla. I'm going to say 1 1/2 by 4. I'm going to cut this out, so I'm just going to there. So it's going to go kind of like that. So I'm going to fussy cut because you guys know that I can't not fussy cut. There are no dies that go with this, but there are some amazing stickers. And some of them, if you buy the scrapbook workshop kit for this Autumn to Remember, there's some amazing die cuts that you get that are used on the layouts. So the scrapbook, the workshop kits are 3 double layouts and include everything that you need, and you do get some extras depending on the kit. Will depend on how much extra you actually have. But yeah, so the die cuts in the workshop kit for this one they're very cool. So just kind of fussy cutting around the letters. If you have alphabet dies, you could cut the sentiment or the title. I guess it's not so much a sentiment. The title out of using dies. If you have a Cricut, you can do that. So I'm gonna just. It's going to go on like that with dimensionals. You don't want to use a ton of dimensionals. You can use some, but you do want, your scrapbook will get very thick very quickly if you start putting too many dimensionals on your pieces. Okay, so I'm going to put that one roughly in the middle, like that. And then I'm going to just tuck this underneath like that and glue that on. And I will do the journaling afterwards. And you can decide, when you're using the two-tone cardstock, you can decide which side of it you actually want to show. I'm using the dark one. So tuck that up like that. And then we'll quickly glue these down. Again, I could use dimensionals, but I'm just going to glue them. Get glue on them. It's a bit of a tight squeeze for these pictures, so I'm going to try and get them straight and just leave. I'm not going to press them down real hard. Oops, of course I got glue on my finger. I'm going to lay that down just there so that I roughly get them straight like that, and then we'll do this one in the middle. Like I said, it was a bit of a tight squeeze to get these all on here. There. Sliding. The liquid glue gives you some wiggle room, but it also will wiggle around a little bit, so there we go. All right, so what else have we got to go on? I did some die cutting. So I cut out a tag that's going to go on the first one. That's going to be for some more journaling. And then I did some die cutting. This is the Changing Leaves embossing folder. It's a hybrid embossing folder that comes with the dies. So you can cut and emboss using this. So I went ahead and did the cutting and embossing both out of the Cajun Craze. This is the two-tone cardstock and the Old Olive, and then I cut some leaves out. Now, the reason these kind of look like they are, and I've lost one because I did cut two of those, I thought. It's probably around here somewhere. So I cut them 2 layers, and when you cut 2 layers, I got one that came apart. All the bits came out really easily. And one, oh, there's the other one, and one did not. So I'm going to use them like that. So if you cut them double thickness, one doesn't cut through real well, the double thickness. And so I like that kind of double layer where you get the 2 different, it looks like you've used 2 different dies and one has just embossed. Okay, so we're just going to take and I'm going to put some of these leaves. And I am going to use some dimensionals on these. And you can make these as fancy or simple as you want. Make the pictures be the focal of your scrapbook page. So I'm just going to kind of layer these. I'll use the green. I was going to put the Cajun Craze, but so if you want to play with one of the scrapbook kits, I'm having a class on November 3rd. What you need to do is buy the scrapbook kit, and then you can come and just put it together with me. We'll play together. So there we go. That's pretty much all I'm going to do on this one. I might layer another. We'll see when I get over to this page. And then for this one, I didn't pull any ribbon. I probably should have put ribbon on this, but this is a tag. This is the largest of the tags from the Everyday Greetings tags, and so it works perfectly for some journaling. And then I'm going to use some dimensionals on. Now there are some really cool stamps, and I was going to do some stamping, but I don't actually have a lot of room on empty space. I could have done some stamping up here, but I think I will just, the only stamping I will do is on the sentiment that or the title that I put on. So hopefully you can see. Now I did do the cutting and fussing a little bit to try and figure out layouts. And as I said, I did case this layout from the Halloween workshop kit. And so some of that was kind of all done ahead of time. I'm going to just take and tuck this just underneath like that. But they don't take too long to put together, and even the workshop kits, we did the Halloween one in 2 hours with the 2 double layouts, so they go pretty quickly. Okay, so that's that. Now I did pull out some other things that I thought would go with this. I pulled out, these are the woven golden leaves that I thought might kind of look cool. They're definitely woven, and so I thought I would just take and put these in a couple of places. Just to see how it looks. They are from the September to December mini catalog. So I'm just going to put them on with glue dots. The glue dots will show underneath them, and so I like to just kind of make sure they're hidden. They're tucked underneath something. Should have probably thought about this before I stuck these down, but that's okay. Like that, and then we'll maybe put one on here too. Just so the two coordinate. Okay, and then the other thing I thought they would go quite nicely with this, these are called faux blast dots, and they come in Old Olive, I think, so Old Olive, I'm going to say crushed curry, Cajun craze, and maybe copper clay. So perfect color combination for these. And so you don't have to use a lot. They are quite thick, so you probably don't want to use a ton. They are only actually, sorry, they are just 2 colors. Actually, I think there's yellow. Yeah, there is some yellow. So there we go. We'll just put some on there, and then we'll also put all right, so I have some things I didn't use, but there we go. If I can get stuff out of the way, you can see. So those are the two pages. Went pretty quickly. Yeah, just under half an hour to put these together. Now, like I said, I did kind of get things cut and scored, or cut out ahead of time and thought about how I wanted it. But I'm a huge advocate for doing not spending a ton of time for scrapbooking. I want this done kind of like a card. I want it done fairly quickly, and so this is a really easy way. This designer series paper works really well, and combining it with some of our other products like the changing leaves, it really worked well on these pages. All right, so that's the first night of my memory keeping Monday. So come join me again next Monday and we'll make another. I'm not sure whether it'll be a single page or a double page. We'll see how it goes. If you have some ideas of things that you'd like to do with scrapbooking, let me know, because I'm always interested to see if there's something that I can help out with. All right, everybody, now I will be live again tomorrow night at 6:30 with my sketch, so hopefully you will join me then.